going on, everybody? Should have stopped. Hello. Let's see. There we go. How's everybody doing today? Hey, Melinda, how you doing? Can you hear me okay? Everything's plugged in. Mark, can you hear me? Eight? Oh, 5 people. That's cool. Okay, good deal. I'm glad you can hear me. Yeah, I took a couple hour. Well, I don't know if it was a couple hour nap or not, but um, I always wash out the inside. And I didn't do a real good job of field dressing. Uh, my best friend up north, where I usually go bow hunt in the first weekend of rifle, he can sharpen a knife, and the brand that we like to use is Charade. And I don't know if I got it with me. Must be in the other room. But yeah, he can put an edge on a knife. You can hear me just fine. That's a good deal. But yeah, it was kind of a weird. It was kind of a weird hunt this morning. Uh, one of my neighbors has. We call it the North Farm. It has a feed lot there, which there's no cattle in there right now. It's weird how it lays. Um, I always helped up there. I always mowed all the hay up there the last few years, and there's one big open spot, and if you go on the north end of the property, it drops down to a creek. It has rocks and stuff, so I just took a chair out there with me this morning. The guy's brother took his kids up there last weekend, and he said they put up a blind, but I didn't see the blind, and I really wasn't looking for it. And but I knew where I wanted to go, so the owner of their property, he had a dozer come in last spring, I think it was, and tear out the north fence. So that's why they don't have any cattle right now. He did run an electrical wire on top of the cliff. You want to call it a cliff? It's not really a cliff, but it's a pretty good drop down to the creek. And I sat next to this big locust tree for a while, and I got bored of not seeing anything, so I took a walk down to the cliff and stood on top of a rock and looked down, and you could see where where the dozer went through, and tore out the old fence and stuff, and the creek and whatnot. Yeah, charades are really good. 23 degrees in Iowa. Hi, Deborah. How you doing? Good to see you. And yeah, it's windy. The wind really picked up. I mean, it was breezy this morning with a little bit of gusty winds off and on. And hey, Ellie. Thank you, Ellie. Appreciate it. This is Hunter's return from a successful hunt. But I'd walk about 20, 30 yards and stop and look around, and then I didn't see nothing but tree rats down there, so I went ahead and walked back to where my chair was. And I think by that time, two old people were on a couch there talking, and well, I did send a couple of pictures. I did get kind of, I just kind of closed my eyes there for a minute before I went for that walk. Well, I got back to my tree and I was sitting on the east side of the tree, kind of blocking the wind, and I had to go to the restroom, so I stood up, got kind of on the south side of the tree, and I took a leak. You know how it is, Mark. Sometimes you got to take a leak, and you almost have to do the other thing. That's the way I've kind of felt there for a second. And anyway, I got zipped back up and got ready to sit down, and I seen there's like a wash that goes in between me and the west side, and so I seen antlers moving, and I thought, wow. So brought the scope up, and sure enough, it's a decent sized buck. So he didn't even know I was there, and the wind was blowing out of the west, so he didn't smell me or nothing. And so I laid one into him right there behind the shoulder, and he didn't go down. He just kind of stopped for a second and then took a few steps, about 10 yards. So I laid into him again. Because I don't want him to suffer, And then he kind of turned to his right and then went about 20 yards. I think I shot again. I can't remember. I think I shot two more times after he stopped that first time. And then yeah, about 20 yards from where he had stopped and stood there for a second, he went down. So I'm very, very thankful for my neighbors for letting me go up there, and it's mostly all open except for in the bottoms there's some hedge trees and locust trees. And I don't think there's any oak trees. Got your big turkey hen at Walmart, huh? I wonder what the prices are on them this year. But yeah, I was pretty thrilled. When you sit in 12 months, since you've I can't even remember. Yeah, I did harvest something last year. I actually got them up there in northern Missouri last year. But that was a weird day too, because I think it was on the afternoon of opening day, or it was late morning opening day, and it was really windy like it is today. I actually used my custom-made Armor Light rifle. Yeah, it was a good feeling. But yeah, the first person I called was my buddy up north because he's hunting out the back door. He said the wind was blowing pretty hard up there. That better. And yeah, that hunt last year, I was about ready to give up. I was like 20 feet up in the air in a tree, and the wind was just blowing like crazy. And it wasn't cold; it was just blowing. And yeah, I think somebody commented. I did a community post that a friend of mine commented that I can go ahead and shave now. Cost you, you know what? Seems like every time you go in that place, you drop $100 bill. But as a kid, I never really did hunt. My dad wasn't a hunter. Um, my uncle wasn't a hunter. The only person that hunted that I knew was probably my best friend since fourth grade that lives up in northern Missouri. In fact, I need to share this to him. Maybe he'll pop in here. I don't know. We've My grandfather and grandmother, they always liked to go fishing and camping. There. Excuse me. There we go. But they always took us, my sister and I, camping a couple of times. My sister was 7 years older than, or is 7 years older than me, but whenever we traveled, she slept. Mark says I'm on the opposite, hunted young and then haven't lately. But uh, yeah, it was kind of brought back memories this morning of you know, and I'm very thankful to my neighbor for letting me go up there because there was nobody else. I called him Friday and I said, hey, I says, anybody hunting the North Farm, this weekend? He says, you'll have to call my brother and ask him. And so he says, I don't care if you go up there. And so called his brother and he said, no, he says, we're not going out. So actually, just a little bit up the road from that spot is Christmas Tree Farm where we get our Christmas tree. And there's a video of that from last year. Miss Linda was so excited that day when we went up there to get that real tree. I might have to figure out where I'm gonna put it this year. We can't get a real big tree because the house is so small, but it's nice to have the fragrance, of the tree. I think I'm gonna bring the leather chair in here and and set it up over here on the right. And Mark, I need to get a hold of you because I do have another mic and another camera. Um, but I need to get more USB ports for this laptop to actually set up a studio mode deal where I don't know if you know if that's possible to set up another camera and microphone. So that's don't let me forget. It's in the box right here. So anyway, my my very first time that I harvested deer was probably I was using a shotgun with slugs, and gosh, that was probably 20 some years ago. And where I lived up north of here, um, my ex-wife's and I's place, and there was a CRP field right next to us that I had permission to go in there and hunt. Well, I think it was in the afternoon, and I kicked up 3 or 4 does, and I they were running away from me, and I bet they were probably 125 yards, and I let 3 rounds fly, and I was really surprised and shocked that I actually hit one. So I actually just dropped her. So that was I think that was the very first deer I harvested. So, and then my son, we were up at his grandfather's and grandmother's place up in northern Missouri, and I think he was 9 or 10 years old, and he got one up there. It was a forkhorn, and he was happy to get one and thankful for the harvest, but you know, he just lost interest after that. But I've gone pretty much every year. Uh, I've harvested deer with my bow up there at northern Missouri, and I think I said on a previous live there that Missouri was so thick with deer that M1 rifle and the VFW to hunt with before he got his rifle. Oh, that's cool. Missouri was so thick on deer that you could buy unlimited doe tags years ago and harvest as many does as you wanted to in certain counties, and that was mostly statewide. And our buddy up north and we used to have access to probably 300 acres of timber, and yeah, we would always. I think I processed 9 deer that year by myself. I think we processed 1 or 2 down here, and then I don't remember. I told him I'd never do that again. That's a lot of work. Yeah, and it's population control kind of, especially the urban areas, around Kansas City. There's a lot of deer in the urban areas. And I see a lot of them taking naps. A lot of deer taking naps along the shoulder that have been hit. And cost the insurance companies a lot of money. Then your insurance rates go up. What I'd like to do someday maybe is like a mule deer hunt where they spot and stalk, and they're bedded down. Well, you seen him again last night, huh, Mike? Mike Hall is in here. He's a coworker, and I think it was last weekend. He sent me pictures of a buck that's like 20 yards from his house, tearing up his bushes. Yeah, I can't harvest another buck, so I we use what they call a telecheck system in Missouri, where we call our deer in, and it gives us a confirmation number. We have to tell them if it's a buck, button buck, or a doe, and then they ask you the circumference around 1 inch above the base of the antler. If it's inch and a half or greater, something like that. And then ask you what county. You can spotlight them as long as you don't have a rifle in the car. Yeah, Deborah says a deer are hiding from the hunters in the urban areas. Yeah, I got friends that have cattle over here in Kansas City, and my buddy was, or my neighbor guy, he said that every time they go over to feed, there's, you know, his sister sees a bunch of deer over there. Yeah, can't discharge firearms in town. I think they do have an urban zone hunt, because I had to look up the regulations as far as, you know, we used to have to put the tag on the deer, either on the leg or the antler, either one, and then to transport it. But now it says in there you could actually transport the deer and have the tag on you, as long as the tag is with you and the deer, or on the deer if you're away from it. I need a haircut. I might call another buddy of mine whose daughter used to be a stylist. Hey, Granny, how you doing? Good to see you. Glad you're in here. Uh, either that or go to. I don't think there's any barber shops open now. Did everybody see the pictures on my community tab? Let's see if this is one of them here. There he is. Granny says, "Grow it out." Yeah, yeah. Wish I could, but it was really weird how he come in to the west of me. He didn't even know I was there. I think if I would have just shot that one time, he would have just stood there and collapsed right there. But I hate seeing animals suffer, But he's not a great big bodied deer. I was kind of surprised there wasn't a lot of fat on him. Uh, yeah, and I got my loader tractor started up. Miss Linda came out and took this picture. Uh, I got my loader tractor started. I had to go get some starting fluid because I didn't have it plugged in, and lifted the mop off the bed of the truck, and then backed into the shop, left it up in the air. My loader creeps down, the hydraulics, so I put a 2x6 underneath the arm. Yeah. Granny says, I agree. I rented a home in the suburbs on the hill. Deer were everywhere. He wasn't a great big rack either, but the owner of the property, he came up, and it was funny because when I walked out, I got, I don't know, 7,500 yards from the truck, and here was a buck in the fence row in the trees chasing a doe. They stopped and stared at me, and they were just on the other side, but he rents that area just to the north of him. And then I came home and got my field dressing gloves, And then he showed up, so we went up there. And then as we were driving back there, in the southwest corner, 5 does jump up out of the fence row, jump the fence on his side, jump over to a harvested bean field, take off running across the bean field where you couldn't see them. And then one of them came back across the bean field towards us, and I'm thinking, well, she's going to jump the fence, which she did, but I didn't have, there's another farm in the background. It's a Charolais farm, Charolais cattle farm. And she was running pretty good, and then jumped the south fence and then off to into the timber that way. But he told me, he says, don't take your deer to the processor yet. He says, come on back up here and get you a doe. Well, I'm thinking if I get another one, I'm gonna process it myself and slice all the meat up for jerky, because I used to make some really good jerky and smoke it in a smoker, not a dehydrator, but an actual smoker. Deborah says you're in the center of town and don't see them anymore. But yeah, in fact, the heart, I've got to go out. It's still on the bed. It's cold out and the wind's blowing. I need to go out and get. I always save the heart. Uh, that's almost the best part of the deer. Really, really tender meat. Did I miss some comments? I see Granny Lana says Mike. Hmm. Excuse me, I'm drinking a cup of coffee. Yeah, I think the liver was tore up a little bit, so I just left it out there. And when we did field dress them, he had a lot of corn in them, so he'd been eating some feed from somewhere. That was one of the things that my owner of the property noticed, and he helped me get it up onto the pickup truck. I told him, I said, you don't need to be lifting anything, you know. Gosh darn it. But it was weird because I was watching 2 old people on a couch before that, you know, and I think I got off of it, or it was over with, or I don't remember. It happened so fast, you know. I drank a couple of cups. I got up at 4:30 this morning. Miss Linda was still looking at her eyelids, and I don't know. I spent an hour and a half just kind of sitting in the chair debating on whether to go or not, you know, because it was so darn cold out. So I went ahead and I put some body warmers in my boots. Oh, you have to draw out there, huh, Lana? Out in Utah, huh? Yeah, there was. Mark says, "I bet those deer get heavier as they get older." Oh, as you get older, yeah, they do. Of course, when you're out of shape like me, you know. Oh my gosh, my buddy up north, my best friend up north, he could be field dressing one, and his back go out because he can't move. I mean, he's got to lay there, and yeah, yeah. Mark says I was about to go home when you got it. Yeah, that's true. But I think there was one year when I wasn't up there. I think it was the second weekend of of season, and I think he was processing one, and his back went out. And I think his wife or another guy from Iowa that used to come down all the time, had to actually help him to the truck. The 300 acres that we used to hunt a couple of years ago, he had his blind set up in his normal spot, and it was on the east fence row kind of, and you could look. There was a path going up a hill, it was way up high, and the deer would cross back and forth from from different properties, and all the timber was on that side hill, and then there was evergreens kind of off to our right, and um, I'll never forget it. I kind of looked over my shoulder, and he's sitting next to me on the right, and he says, "There's a buck that just came out." He goes, and he couldn't get in position, but I could, so I turned around and laid one into him, and he took off back where he came up through the evergreens. Now, all them evergreens, there's plenty of paths up there. They're from the cattle and stuff. And we sat there for probably 5-10 minutes or something like that. And that night it had snowed just barely, or there was snow in the grass, but in the dirt areas there was no snow. And so we got out of the blind, we walked up there, and yeah, Lana, it's on my community tab, and there was a big red spot on the ground, and I'm thinking, okay, he's not going very far, right? I mean, it was huge, and we trailed it and trailed it and trailed it, and he went up through the evergreens, up the hill, through another patch of evergreens, and we were finding little specks. So, and then there was another path down through these trees, and I bet it was probably a good, because we actually looked, and trailed the specks of red in the ground and everything. And when we got to the grassy area, you could kind of see his footprints. And we finally, about 45 minutes to an hour later, we found him down in the trees, and I was just thankful we found him. We couldn't believe he went that far with the just liver and meat. Yeah. Oh yeah, I know out west they go for the big ones, the big rack ones. Um, but yeah, we were pumped, and I think it was the next day that he harvested one up that big hill from the blind, and it was just a great week, great year that year, because I got one and he got one, and we're best friends, and it's just I told him I think we said to each other, we look back in our 70s and stuff, it's great memories together. We haven't spent a lot of time together the last 12 months. I've been busy with work, and he's been busy with work, and I told him I said, since we got that camping trailer thing, well, they've got a couple of lake lots up there north of the town that he works in, and they got a camper up there and a boat and stuff. Next spring we'll have to go up there and camp out in the camping trailer, ride the bike up there. Randy says, I don't need a trophy, just liver meat, 20 miles north. not Trophy, but 10 minutes south, they go for bragging rights. Oh yeah, you talking about mule deer out there, or you got whitetail, Savannah? I know it's in Utah. And then I know another guy out in Craig, Colorado, where we stayed 2 years ago on the motorcycle trip. He's an elk guide out there, and they also have mule deer too. But he's been busy, look like, from the stuff I've been seeing on the social media. Excuse me. You were always happier when Dad got the deer. Oh yeah. But it's like I told my buddy and I told the owner of the property, I think the drought really had played a part because I haven't seen a lot of great big bodied deer. Uh, my buddy up north, we have a mutual friend that used to come down and hunt from Iowa, buy out of state tags and everything, but he harvested one year, and this guy is 6'4", and this deer looked like he had a scrub bush on top of his head, and it wasn't a great big wide rack or anything. He had points all coming out of his head and stuff, and he was an older deer because that deer, when he stood next to that deer with it hanging up, it was the feet were barely touching the ground, and it was still taller and heavier than him. He probably field dressed pretty darn heavy, a couple 100 pounds, I would think. You chew on a stick. Melinda said she'll chew on a stick, huh? No liver. That's another thing too. Miss Linda does not like liver. And I can fry up. I buy some liver at the store and fry it up in a pan with some butter, some mushrooms, and don't fry it very long. I don't even put flour or egg on it or nothing. Just fry it up, kind of like a steak. Medium rare. It'll feed you some pine sticks. Lana says she processes her whole deer. Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, if I were to go out tonight and get a doe, that's probably what I'll do because I like to butterfly the back straps and the butterfly steaks, and then when I take it to the processor, I'll just tell them to cut the hams into steaks. I don't like roasts, nothing like that. Just and then grind the rest of it. The processor I called this morning, where we take beef, is I asked her how much it was just for a standard processing, and 100, what was it? Starts out at $175. So I called another processor up towards northern Missouri where I usually take it, and it was 150 just for a standard. I told them I just want the back straps to butterfly them out and grind the rest into hamburger. So it's like $150. I could turn my heater up. There. I still got my long underwear on. I think I had two, three, four, five shirts on, plus my heated coat underneath my hunting coat and my orange, and I had my long underwear. I had body heaters in the boots, and then I have a thing that goes around my chest, and it's got uh, body heaters, on the back. I keep it on my back. Wow. Yeah, Linda's gonna make some chili today. She said whatever we don't eat, we can freeze it. But yeah, I was just real. I was pretty excited. I was real thankful, this morning. I like chili, especially when it has beans in it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what happened the other night. I had ate some beets on my route, and my gosh, I try to eat 1 or 2 jars a week of beets for my blood pressure, and that's one thing I haven't been doing is monitoring my blood pressure. I should have taken it earlier, but I didn't. I'll take it tonight. Write it down. Boils your meat, and then add carrots, etc. for dog food. Cool. We got some roast in there that we made during the week. Well, it wasn't really roast. It was short ribs, and venison steaks with cream mushroom soup, onions, garlic, and we had that in the crock pot all day. Miss Linda got home from work. She had to add a little cornstarch because it was kind of soupy. I don't like real thick, real soupy gravy. Melinda said that's what I did because I made too much. Wait, no beans. I'm from Texas. Oh, you don't put beans in your chili down there in Texas? That must be a thing down there, huh? That movie Home Alone, I was taking my nap and I woke up. No beans, huh? Wow. And that movie Home Alone is on right now. Miss Linda had it playing. That's a funny movie. I laugh my tail off when I see some of that stuff on there. Times I have a shepherd and a golden doodle. Oh, and a 3 pound York. Oh, you have a Yorkie? Yeah, I'm thinking about in the spring maybe finding a smaller dog, and so Easton can have a some company during the day uh, in the house here. Yeah, just a second. I don't know if Miss Linda's watching or not. I'm out of coffee. Yeah, I had a video and I sent it to Mark, and I tried emailing it to myself so I could share the area where I was hunting, and I don't know if it ever sent or not. Well, hi. Thank you, dear. Hi, everybody. Did you hear? But it seems like since we had put Obi down, that Easton's kind of lonely. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm trying to email it to myself, but I don't know because I was going to share it on here. Looks like it didn't email it to myself. Those are the images. Maybe I'll try it again. But anyway, it was a good morning. And I did go back and start watching that show, Mark, but I got busy. I had to go back out in the shop, make sure my loader didn't come down or anything like that. So, and then, like I said, my knife was kind of dull, and I had to split the chest open a little bit more. Let's see. Let's try it that way. And the wind has picked up this afternoon big time. It's kind of like out of the southwest, and I think they said something about us might be up to 60 degrees tomorrow. Ellie says, "Hi, Miss Linda." Hi, oh, so Melinda says, "Hi, Linda." Everybody says, "Hi, Miss Linda." See, she's been doing laundry and making chili. She didn't. She didn't. She's not real presentable in her eyes, anyway. I don't care what she looks like. Let's see. Yeah, Mark, you there we go. Set that right there. There we go. What I do with my images is I'll email them to myself, and I can open up the email, download it, and then I can save it to my desktop like I just did. Let's see if this works now. Oh yeah. Try and shrink it down here. Okay, hang on just a second here, people. There. Hang on just a second. There we go. That's what I want to do right there. See, if I would have had this stuff preloaded, it would have worked just fine. There. I can move over here. How's that? So I'm not prepared. See if it does it right again. But that's won't play again. I don't know what I did. Oh well. That's kind of like that's the area that I was hunting. Yeah, it was a little windy. to the left, if you look at the video to the left, there's that draw right there, and that's where that buck was kind of on the other side of that draw. So. There she, yeah. See, she does watch my stuff. I was kind of wondering about that. Ranch style beans with ham, meat, but that's as far as you'll go, Melinda, huh? Deborah says some peeps in Iowa don't put beans in chili either. What the heck? Yeah. I've got to clean up my desktop too. I've got another hard drive that I can move images to the hard drive. I'll have to spend some time to do that. Images and music, and it's just a mess. My desktop's almost full. You know what I mean? I'm cooking because I've got jeans and long underwear on, and man, my legs are just cooking now. Says we got 12 people in here. How many likes do I have? Everybody hit that thumbs up for me, will you? I appreciate it. And I did notice I got 400 and some subscribers now. And if you're here, a new subscriber, I appreciate it. We're all picky. It just depends on how or why. Thank you, Lana. I appreciate it. Everybody hit the thumbs up. I don't know how long I'll be in here. It just depends. Uh-oh. There's something going on with the mic. Let's see. Okay. Nope. It's fine. That was a different mic. We'll have to do a show, Mark, this maybe tomorrow after I get back from taking that deer up north. I think they open at 10, so I should be back by noon or something. I'm gonna have to go back and watch the whole show because I think I did watch the whole show, and then it was right there towards the end. I think he brought Dottie in. Got to see that. Yeah, it was a different mic that I had showing over here on the mixer. But oh, that was another thing too. I have a mount up here on the wall, and it's a 10 point, and I harvested. He was a first nice decent buck that I harvested. That I harvested them up in northern Missouri at my buddy's farm at my stand. And it's the same stand that I've had in that tree for years and years and years. I don't know how many years. My buddy could probably figure it out, but I can't. And I'll never forget. I was sitting there in the stand, and I looked to my west and through the trees, and I seen movement, and here he come, and all I know is I saw antlers, and we didn't have any point restrictions back then. Well, thank you, JKS. Good to see you in here. Dottie's a hot mess. Yeah. Well, like I said before, Mark, our dogs act like our owners sometimes. It just depends which owner. uh, um, but yeah, I mean that was one of my favorite memories. Oh, you got baseball caps. Uh, but he got like 15 yards from where I was up in the tree, and I laid into him, and he ran across the creek up the other side, and I thought, now I know I had to have hit him, and I heard a crash, and I gave it about a minute or two, and I kind of looked over my right shoulder, and I seen a clump of brown, and sure enough, that was him. Yeah, I have to show you what I got in the mail last week, and I think I'm gonna do a 500 giveaway. I think I've got 4 of these, and I tell you what, I'm gonna have to find a local shop that will do some of this, like 10 at a time or something like that. There we go. But I think I've got a couple of large and a couple of smalls. I can't remember. There's a medium, there's a large, there's a large, there's a medium. But one of these is Miss Linda's because I couldn't find mine. But yeah, if I hit 500 subscribers, you know, maybe by the end of the year, hopefully by Christmas, it'd be a good Christmas present. Even though it's only 500, you're not monetized. I just do it for fun. Yeah, and I get them done through custom ink, and it's not cheap. uh, yeah, I think Deborah was in here earlier, and I sent her. She was the first one to send something to our post office box, and I'm pretty sure I sent her back a shirt. It was an extra that we had that hadn't been worn, and yeah, I could have brought Easton in here. The wind's blowing out of the south. He wants to play so bad, and it's a cold wind. It's not one of them warm winds. You say you got baseball caps made, Mark? But yeah, I got to make another phone call today to the college kid that his dad lives down the road. He's going to take care of Easton when and the chickens. We're gonna. I think we're gonna leave early Thursday morning, and then we're gonna go up to my sister's, and then come back Friday night. Oh no, just wear them. Okay. Yeah, Mark, on your show this morning, you look bundled up. Yep, Deborah's still in here. She says she has one. You're very welcome. And I don't go to the post office, but maybe once a week to check, see if I get anything besides an advertisement. That's usually what I get is advertisements. Oh, okay, Lana. See, I have to wear a hat because if I took this hat off, you guys would be like totally blind. You wouldn't be able to see for like maybe an hour. Kind of like if you looked at a guy that was welding, burn your retinas out. Are you getting? I think if I remember right, you were ill, right, Lana? I think you've been feeling any better. uh, yeah, I bet when you get that 298 people in that studio, Mark, it can warm up pretty quick. Mark and Deb were talking earlier, about the stuff going on and the investigations. I'll just put it that way. I wonder how many millions of tax dollars. Yeah, 280. I wonder how many millions of dollars of our tax money is they're gonna waste on both sides, the red and the blue, and the it's just crazy, you know. But I feel like they have more evidence against the sitting guy up there in that big White House right now than they did with our ex-president. I wish I could take a straw and some paint and blow on a canvas, and sell it for $500,000. I could sign it, cowboy deer hunter. Maybe maybe people will say, "Oh, wow, that's Hunter Biden." Yeah, yeah, we'll buy that. Miss Linda must be chopping onions or something because I heard some it's called art. Yeah, I heard some hammering going on in there. Hope she puts plenty of beans in it. She'll probably use uh, she'll probably use some garlic out of the freezer that got sent to us from Deborah. Maybe she could comment in here and let us know for sure. I'm sure she's got some because we broke it down and then put it in the freezer. Actually, the man Larry did a quid pro quo and admitted it on television. I'm not a very smart guy when it comes to the politics, but I don't even know what a quid pro quo means. I mean, I know what a squid is. I know what a quote is. You know, and there's another guy on social media on TikTok that I saw on there that wants to put his name into the 2024 election. And I don't know what Linda's. Oh, here we go. Did she comment? Yeah. 4 cans of beans, and yes, I'm using the garlic. You see that? See that, Deborah? Are you putting the hot garlic in? Mark says, quit the hammering. 12 people in here. Appreciate it. But yeah, this coming week, I got to work Monday and Tuesday, and I might be running out to Western Kansas both days because our number one driver took off work. She's using now this is a big word for me, Estonian garlic. Okay, I think I pronounced that right. She knows a lot of big words. I don't know a lot of big words. I think I pronounced it right. shared this on my page. I think let's see here. Yep, I did already did. Yeah, Deborah, that was that's what we did. We froze it, and we're using little by little. You know, I think she uses it more than she tells me. Mark says it's either up there, down there, or out there. One thing that I'm trying to do, indoor garden, when you get home, is I'm trying to cut back, and I used to use these when I was driving, and they're wintergreen pouches. Is I used to chew tobacco and light it up. You know what I'm saying? Mark, she hammers me all the time. You know what I'm saying? She just, yeah. I went ahead and got some more of these the other day, and I'm really gonna try and cut back and quit. You know, I just need to pick a day. Maybe the long 5 hour drive up north on Thursday. You know, will help out. You have a worm farm, huh? I know some people have those worm farms where they don't they use a specific worm to like clean up I don't want to say the sewer plants or something like that, or I don't know. Uh, my ex-wife's uncle down in Arkansas had a shed full of worm beds in there, and he would go to the bread factory and they would give away 55-gallon drums of old bread. And I think, if I remember right, he used to feed the worms that bread. You could actually, I remember seeing you could actually lay those bread slices on the top of the bed, and the bed would actually move up and down from all the worms, and they would eat eat the bread. I'd move my atlas. She has a small worm farm, but it's growing pretty good. Red worms. Huh. These worms that I remember him having were real skinny. I mean, not like an earthworm, but something else. I just, gosh, that was a long time ago. Patches? Yeah, I can't wear the patches because it just, uh, I don't know. I can kind of regulate these pouches, you know. And I got to have something to do with my mouth and besides talk, right? $14 people in here. Appreciate it. Mine are around 5 to 6 inches grown. Huh. Interesting. But I think they use it in for some of them worms types of worms. I'll use for cleanup. Treasure Hunter, good to see you. How are you today, Beth Connet? Hey, how are you doing? Where are you at, Beth? I appreciate you being here. You must be a new subscriber. I think I know who you are, but I'm not for sure. I'm going to make sure. No. Oops. I appreciate you coming in, though, everybody. We've been going for over an hour now. We'll just keep it going if you want to. This shirt I've got on, I bet I've had it for 15 years. It's one of my hunting shirts, and when I get done with season and stuff, I wash all my clothes and I'll put it in a tote. In fact, it goes on top of my safe over here. Yeah, I don't know why it did that. We went to Shoot Dang Fest. That was this spring, right, Beth? Tell another story. Okay. Oh man, what kind of story could I tell? My buddy up north and I were hunting together, and it was like the second day, I think it was. And we went over to what we call the food plot, which is just east of his house. And there was a great big buck in there. And he was probably about 100 yards to my east. I was on the west side. And all of a sudden I hear bang, 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 bang. He hollers at me real loud. He goes, well, we're both shooting with the same caliber gun. He goes, I'm out of rounds. Come bring me some. Next thing I know, I see this buck running across the hayfield, you know. I don't even, I'm sure we didn't get him. I don't know why. I think the gun was off or something. But my buddy up north, he's usually a really, really good shot. Hey, Deb, good to see you. And because the running joke is when we're together, I always tell him, you know, because I'm the one that's usually missing, you know, and I only bring one bullet with me, you know, one shot, one kill. Because he always comes back and says, "Yeah, you're full of you know what." But yeah, man, there's a lot of memories that with me and my best friend up north. I I don't even think I got any pictures of him when we were kids. We used to pick on him a lot because he was the smaller of all of us, you know, and he's very, very, very smart, you know. Uh, if I have any question of mechanics or anything like that, he's very smart. He's very meticulous, you know. Um, I felt bad for him because when I was up there, his Yeah, that's not a good place when you're out of those, right? Uh, his motor went out on his clothes washer, and I think he said it was only like 2 years old. And I remember when he came down and got him. This high capacity, high efficiency clothes washer and dryer from Lowe's, and the motor went out. It was like wash them, and I don't know if it would rinse them, but it wouldn't drain, and the motor was stuck. So uh, they had a pile of laundry to do, and I told him, I said, well, just turn it inside out, you know. But he ended up they run it. They do have a, you know, these manufacturers, they have a warranty, but they might cover a part, they might not. Linda, thank you, appreciate you coming in. And it was like $160 for the motor. So he went ahead and ordered one, and he put it in himself because you don't want, you know, living out in the country, you're not going to wait for a technician to come out there, and then you've got to pay for labor or whatever, you know. Labor is $100 an hour, whether, you know, if you look at it. Or that, yeah, Melinda, thank you for coming in. Appreciate it. Everybody hit that thumbs up for me. My gosh, we got 18 people in here. Uh, I think that's the most I've had in here on a live. We'll just keep her going, huh? Yeah, throw the gun like they do in the movies. Hey, Nunya, Texas, building a fire. Yeah, it's Jake, right? Mark, let me know. Is that Jake down there in Nunya, Texas? Yep. Thank you. You know, older guy here. I can't remember names very well. Yeah, Jake, I've been watching your videos, you know, on the trees and stuff. That's pretty cool. And your campground down there, is that your campground that you're building? Nunya, Texas on the back 20. Not with State Farm. Are you wearing khakis? This old shirt's about had it. The sleeves are. I think I've seen some. You've been doing a lot of shorts, and I don't really do very many shorts. I've done one with the dog and a couple other things, and I noticed that RV park. If that's yours, you know, East Texas, that'd be a nice motorcycle trip down there. As long as it wasn't in the middle of summer, you know. Vespa trip to Jake's. Yeah. No time for videos. Yeah, you've been staying busy. You getting any firewood out of them trees you guys are harvesting, or you got plenty stacked up? I used to have a place I lived at before here. I used to have a wood burning stove in the shop, and I would cut and split wood for that stove. I had a 3-point wood splitter put on the back of the tractor, hook up the hydraulics, and that's how we'd run the. Jake says he's got stacks and stacks of wood. I kind of wish this old house I could put an outdoor furnace, out here and burn wood. This whole house that we're in is 1914, I think is the earliest record, and it's just got a crawl space, and I haven't been down the crawl space for years. I've looked down there, but if I were to do anything at all to this house, I'd have a contractor come in and jack it up and put a new foundation around it. If I ever had the money, I'd tear the darn thing down and put another one on its spot, build another one on there. 6 to 7 chords this year, huh? I was really surprised Friday when I went down to Oklahoma in the truck. I got east of Tulsa, and there was actually snow on the ground down there in the grass. Linda says, I grew up with a wood furnace in the basement, and it was always warm, continuous heat. I still haven't got used to the forced air heat. Yeah. Can somebody, I don't know how, Mark, you're a moderator, aren't you? Can you get rid of that for me? I don't know how to do that. Oh. I can hide it, but I can't. There. I think I gave you a wrench, but I'm not sure. And I don't know how to do that. How do I do that? There. Okay. Someone got it. I think I did it on my phone. Thank you. That's the first time in a life that I've had something like that come up. But I think Mark's got a. I think I gave you a wrench. I don't know how to do that. Here we go. You are a moderator, Mark. Snap on, yeah. You're darn right. But yeah, I was really surprised to see that snow down there, because I didn't have no snow all the way down to Joplin and west of Joplin. Yeah, farmhouse finally got to 60 degrees. A little bit drafty. Northern Wisconsin. Hey, Raptor Ranch. How you doing? You got 10 inches of snow? Wow. Yeah, I saw over here. What was it? New York was getting hammered. I think they were saying last night on the news, uh, they were like going to forecasted 30 inches or something like that, 6 feet or something. I think it was 6 feet. Good to see you in here, Raptor Ranch. Appreciate it. Yeah. You must be another new subscriber. I appreciate you. I appreciate you being in here. It's good to see you. Yeah, that's right, Treasure Hunter. I remember you're a driver also. Correct. You was in Florida. Did you make it out of Florida? Where's he? There he is. They got 77 inches in some areas. Wow. Okay. Cool. Thank you, Raptor. I know it's kind of hard getting loads out of Florida, from what I understand, unless it's like an oversized maybe or something like that. I drove the truck all week this week. I just about rode the motorcycle on Thursday morning. It was like 24 degrees or 25 degrees, but I would have had to take some time and leather up real good. I need to go out and start it. It's been sitting. I had to go get some starting fluid for my loader tractor, and because I didn't have it plugged in, and I wanted to get that buck off the bed of my truck, get him up in the air and hung up. You deliver snowmobiles to northern Wisconsin. That's cool. That's one thing I don't see snowmobiles around here, but up in eastern Iowa and stuff, uh, when it snows pretty good up there up home, people ride a lot of snowmobiles, along the 2-lane roads through the ditches and stuff. I've never been on a snowmobile. The first, the very first motorcycle type engine thing that I rode was a three wheeler. Some friends of mine that had a dairy farm that I grew up with had a 90 cc uh, ATC. Yeah, I think it was a 90, and they let me ride it. We'd take turns and stuff, and I was out along a field one time, and those things were hard to turn. Of course, I probably only weighed 100 pounds, at that time, and the left handlebar got caught in the fence and flipped me upside down. Oh wow, Lana! And the neighbor was burning some brush pretty close to where that happened. He come over and helped me pull it out, flip it back over, and I got her started back up and went back. Luckily, I didn't. Back then we didn't wear helmets. But that was the very first motorcycle type thing I ever operated. But I didn't have motorcycles on the farm when I was growing up. I always had a bicycle, had a twin scrambler, and rode that thing all over the place, building ramps and stuff like that. And, had a friend that had a little 50 cc Honda that would bring it out to the farm. He would never let me ride it. That's probably a good thing though. But I did have a go kart. I remember having a go kart one year, a couple of years. I don't know whatever happened to that thing. I'd ride it up and down the driveway, and when we couldn't start it, we'd just pull it behind the tractor. Yeah, in a couple of years, Wisconsin is nice in the summer. Um, I did get my 2 weeks of vacation scheduled for May, right before Memorial Day, and I think I told Linda there the next bike trip we take. Um, I'd like to go north, like go up home and then up through Wisconsin and then back across Minnesota. The only thing I don't like about Minnesota is the darn mosquitoes. They're worse than flies. Um, and maybe go across North Dakota and then hit South Dakota because it'll be a nice cooler ride. Lana says, I want a golf cart. Lana says, my grandpa invented snowmobile and his friend stole his patent. Oh yeah, you darn right. Going to Augusta, Georgia. That's one state I don't think I've been in is Georgia. I'd like to go see Niagara Falls. That'd be a nice trip. Miss Linda's in there eating something. I wonder if she got that chili made. She's going ahead and eating. Not in the winter. Yeah, I think it was last week. We have a family friend that he still drives an old cab over Kenworth and pulls a flatbed. He's 70 years old, still strapping and tarping loads. And treasure hunter. I think he was out there in Elk Mountain during them 60, 70-mile-an-hour winds, and a lot of trucks were getting blowed over. The neighbor's dog got in the backyard and then in your doggy doors. Was this a little dog or a big dog? Was Dottie excited to see her friend? Linda says the chili's done and it's good. Two screws to fix the fence. I wonder what that fiasco was like when it came in. Sweetheart, you want to bring me a small bowl? Not much, just a couple of spoons. I had eggs and sausage earlier before I took a nap. I bet they were excited. We have a dog park up here in town. I need to take Easton up there sometime. He wouldn't know what to do. Maybe tomorrow the wind will die down. It'll warm up. I think they're saying, like I said, I think they're saying 60 degrees, something like that. I'm not real hungry. It's just because I had those eggs and sausage earlier. Okay, that's good. Dottie knows Sherman, so she was all for it. Wow, hour and a half. You know, that's one thing Miss Linda said. Deb says Dottie didn't even bark. Uh, when Miss Linda and I did that live last week, she says, "Man, time goes by fast." Well, she did bring me. She put cheese on it. You like cheese on your chili? Oh yes, and it's got beans. We're not from Texas, y'all. I can see the garlic in it, Deborah. Wow, it's good. That is excellent, Miss Linda. It's got a little kick to it too. Miss Linda can eat anything hot, spicy. If I take her to like Buffalo Wild Wings, she gets the hot stuff. Dottie drug out all kinds of stuff, huh? This would be good. This would be good chili on those dogs down there in Oklahoma. Good deer meat chili. Yeah, I uh, I like venison chili. I like sometimes I'll mix it half and half. Burrito chili pie. Oh, I got word this week that our managers, supervisors, got a bonus this fall in the terminal. They somebody said they got, I mean, tens, like thousands of dollars on a bonus. And the terminal manager probably got a bonus too, right? So, what they give the drivers and dock workers a bonus? Can everybody take a guess? Mustard on chili. That's interesting, Deb. It was exciting. Yeah, Mark. Anything with the healers is always exciting, right? But yeah, they what was it Thursday night? They had a food truck come in, and you had to get a ticket from your supervisor for a corn dog. Really? And the reason for the bonuses was less damages, you know. And I'm thinking, okay, why was there less damages? The dock workers and the drivers, right? Now, if they gave us a $5,000 bonus on our paycheck, I'd be happy with that. Isn't that right, Treasure Hunter? Oh, Linda says she did. Oh, she does put pickle juice in it, and it makes a difference. We used to get profit sharing years ago when it was a different company, and they would go by the actual profits, and they would pay like the first half of the year. They would give you a bonus check like in November, so you always had money for Christmas, and then the second half of the year they would always give you another check, say like January or February, after they closed the books. And there were some years it was in the three thousand range, and of course that's before taxes. If one person gets a bonus, everyone gets the same bonus. Yeah, and they based our bonuses on our salary as far as because city drivers don't make as much as a line haul driver. You know. Okay, everybody think out of shape for Thanksgiving. or should I let it grow? Leave me a comment, and maybe next time you see me, I'll have a haircut and shaved, huh? Man, that's good. You get a mileage bonus and a longevity bonus. Mileage for safety, like clean DOT inspections and stuff like that. I kind of thought when in 5, 6 years, when I was, the thought has crossed my mind that, 5, 6 years from now, if I ask Miss Linda what she wants, well, I guess she'll have to put a comment on here what she wants, right? Uh, Finding a company local that I could actually uh, go, be home on the weekends, but I could bring Miss Linda and maybe Easton with me, It'd be like a mini vacation. She'd definitely keep me awake, I think, sometimes. You know what, Treasure Hunter? In 28 years with this company, this outfit that I'm at, I've only been pulled into. I mean, I've weighed across the scales, but I've never been pulled in and inspected. I've only had my paperwork checked maybe twice in 28 years, and the two times was within the first 10 years, five or 10 years of my career with this company. It's really weird because I always check my tires, check my valve stem caps, check the springs and all that stuff, and the hub seals. Always make sure they're cleaned off and not have dust and grease on them before I leave on my trip. Because especially on the passenger side, when you're going across some scale, if the scale master is actually looking, he can see that I cleaned them off and that I actually did do a good pre-trip. You know what I'm saying? How many lives have you watched of somebody eating? Sorry. My gosh, it's 5 o'clock. We've been on here for an hour and 45 minutes. That one in Iowa, Treasure Hunter, they're east of Des Moines, going on the westbound side. I kind of remember them building that up there, that DOT scale, and that's one of the safest scales, in my opinion, to pull off into because it's way on top of the hill, away from the interstate. And I was told, when they first built that there's actually jail cells in the basement of that thing, and they can actually do drug testing there. I bet you have, Treasure Hunter. Mark says he got pulled in all the time. In the satellite truck. Tell him it's a weather station on wheels, right? – 12 people in here. I appreciate it. It's kind of nice having just 12 people in here, and I can hit that thumbs up, everybody. I'll only be on here for a few more minutes. got busted for not starting your log. Was that back in the day when we drew lines on paper? Back when I delivered Amway products, I would leave on Sunday night, drive down to Springfield, Missouri, and um, I would sleep in the truck down there we had a subcontractor that delivered in the Ozarks. I'd drop off a couple pallets. I'd sleep in the truck, and then I would do my log like I left that morning, and drove down there. I could actually get a lot more done in a shorter period of time. Then made you stay in town for 10 hours. Wow. Yeah, if our electronic log goes out, we have paper in the permit book that we can draw lines. That chili is pretty good. Sorry. I might go out in the morning and my neighbor says come back up here, and harvest a doe. So if I decided if I ended up getting another one, if it's bigger than this, if the doe is bigger bodied than this buck, which I doubt, I would probably take it to the processor and process this other one myself. I don't really want to, but I could make jerky out of it. I could butterfly the back straps, and then the hams I could make into jerky. Oh wow, when was that, Treasure Hunter? Well, they had a scab. Sorry, a scam going with the cab company over there, huh? Yeah, there's a lot of regulations. It's crazy. Just like we got a driver now that he's working the dock because he went and took his DOT physical, and they measure your neck. If your BMI looks high or whatever, and it was right at 17 inches. Okay. Now they're saying that they want you to take a sleep test, a sleep apnea test, if it's 17 inches or more. So he has to wait to take a sleep test to like after Thanksgiving or something like that. And then he's got to wait another 20 or 30 days for the results of that. And then he'll probably have to spend another $1,200 for a CPAP machine and get on a CPAP machine. Oh, it was 20 years ago, Treasure Hunter, that you got shut down. We had a coworker that his girlfriend worked at Carney Scales, and I stopped in there to talk to her years ago and see how he was doing. And I said, "Hey, what's that little tube right there facing out?" And they can actually detect radioactive material through the building into the trailers. And some of them actually have a like a heartbeat detector. Like if you've got people inside the trailer, I guess your body, uh, um, uh, has your own frequency, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I think it was Thursday afternoon. I come back up towards Joplin, and they had the scales open. So I got in line, and I was right at the back, and they hit the bypass. Nobody was coming, so I jumped out in the bypass and waved at them when I went by. The funny thing was, they were inspecting two trucks back behind the building because it's dangerous. Excuse me. Wow. Anybody been watching this stuff there with that? Can you see that? There you are. SDR. That poor kid sounded like crap this morning when I seen they were doing the life video, I guess. Yeah, but I've been lucky so far. All I've had really pretty much is the sniffles. I think uh, I think I heard Miss Linda coughing in bed last night, and then Easton come up and sit in the chair with me for a while, and I started dozing off, and I said, "Well, I guess I'll go to bed." I think that was about 10:30, and usually I'm snoozing by uh, you know 9 o'clock, 9:30. Homemade chicken and rice stir fry, huh? Yeah, Deborah. Yeah, I was glad to see him come back. It's really sad to see, with families and stuff. All and everybody's got problems in their families. You know, it, I don't care who it is. I mean, there's some stuff you know, in my family that's been going on for the last couple of years, and I don't even talk to hardly any of my family anymore, except for my mother and my sister. It's funny how money and greed changes people. You know, they always say blood's thicker than water. Well, not in this case. Yeah, treasure hunter, I pay extra for disability. So if I become disabled at work or disabled, then it's a little bit more payout. But I pay extra for it during you know every week comes out of my check for that, just in case. It's a little bit of peace of mind, and um, I get life insurance through work. If I were to get, you know, truck driving is one of the most dangerous jobs in this country. Uh, Ken, treasure hunter. It's Kensaur. I think I have a link. I'll have to post a link to it on my about page, but that's what it is. Kensaur. And if something were to happen to me out on the road, I want to make sure that uh, everything is taken care of. I think back when we were another company, if we were to get killed on the road, it's the company pays your family like $1 million on your death, upon your death. Um, I don't know. I don't know if that's the case anymore with this outfit or not. But when Miss Linda came into my life, you know, uh, I put her down, and I'd have to go back and look at my portal and see if there's anybody else on there. My first deer at 15 with black powder jumping over a fence. It was a 6 point. Black powder, huh? Yeah, and we do have an alternative season here in Missouri. I've never harvested anything with my muzzle loader. I don't even I don't even know if I've got enough stuff because the powders get so old, after so many years, if it would even fire. She's got me playing on the TV in there. Treasure her too many people. I've got two profiles on it named Mark. Mark knows what it is. I'll have to try to copy a link to the to my about on the deal there. Let's see here. Treasure hunter. There you go. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see that or not. I'll have to figure that out. Oops. Here we go. Somebody else is live going now. Who's this? Possum Run is live. But yeah. Anyway, well, we've been on here almost 2 hours, and time flies when you're having fun, right? I got to get out of these long underwear because I'm cooking. I probably ought to take a shower. Usually, when I go deer hunting, I'll take a shower, with the unscented soap and stuff, And I didn't even do that this morning because I thought, well, the wind's gonna be blowing; they're not gonna smell me anyway, and I'm gonna have all them clothes on with all my stink on the inside of the clothes, right? Raptor Ranch, appreciate you coming in. Oh, let her grow. You're telling me to let my hair grow? Let's see here. So, anyway, everybody give me a thumbs up. I appreciate it. Share the channel. Give me a big thumbs up. And appreciate y'all coming in. Um, always say, always try to say this at every video. Uh, Say hi to a stranger, especially this time of year. Um, there's a lot of stress, with the holidays, especially in my mind because of family and stuff. And you know, um, I tend to think about my grandfather that's gone, you know, uh, and other people. I know that they're watching over us and stuff, and it just I do have some other stuff that has went on around the holidays that wasn't so good. I I actually remember spending you know uh, a Christmas by myself, and it sucks. Lana says, but it's Miss Linda that has to kiss it. She don't like kissing me. But yeah, lots of memories. So anyway, I hope you all have a good day, and I appreciate y'all coming in here. Shows we got 11 people, and say hi to a stranger, y'all. And I'll tell you what, I'll maybe next time everybody leave me a comment that say Miss Linda needs to join in again. I think she had a good time. We will talk at you later. And stay out of trouble.